Hey, okay. We have Miss Simone back on the show today. Thanks for stopping in on my channel, IBTCH Reacts. I'm sorry. This is IBTCH Reacts, IBTCH. And again, like I said, this is Life in Numbers, Miss Simone. I did an update on her um, being laid off. That was part one. If you haven't seen that, you can run back and watch that and then come back to this one. Just push the bar to the end. Yes, push the bar to the end, my friend, and go watch that one and come back and see this one. Um, and I promised on part one that I would do a part two. So here we are. Part one was her being laid off up to 6 months later. This now is what I would like to call almost present time, probably about a month or so ago. Um, let's see here. I think I'll do that. But on the previous episode, regarding Miss Simone had a virtual assistant job where she was getting paid $300 monthly for being a virtual assistant. Um, and so Miss Simone is going to give us an update quickly because I'm not going to go through the whole thing. If you would like to see the whole thing, as I stated before, you can go ahead, push the bar to the end, and check out her channel. Um, well, thanks for stopping in, my friend. Come back again. Let's go ahead and begin.
I just quit working with one of my virtual assistant clients, and even though I am technically making less money now, I don't regret the decision. So I'm going to talk about what led to that decision in this video. So I've been pretty open about my journey as a virtual assistant, and I've made multiple videos at this point. And if you haven't seen these two, go and check them out. But I think a lot of people talk about getting clients, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about what happens when it's time to walk away from a client. So if you are interested in being a virtual assistant, or if you are a freelancer in general, this video is for you to help you identify different like red flags that can happen when working with clients. So the main reason I let this client go was burnout. I have been working with this client for almost 2 years at this point. This client paid me on a monthly retainer. It was $300, and they were my very first client. So that's also why the rate is lower, because they were my first one. Like if I started working with them
Okay.
now, the rate would be higher than 300. But that's what I did as my like first client when I was just getting used to it. However, a lot has changed since I first was working with them. When I first started working with them, I had a full-time job and I just wanted to make some extra money on the side because I wanted to pay off my credit card debt. Then, a few months into working with them, I got laid off, and I really needed that money because that was the one like stable income that I had outside of content creation, and content creation was not paying what it's paying me now. So I really needed that money, and I was very grateful for the opportunity. But throughout last year, my content creation just kept growing, and kept growing. And by the beginning of this year, I had decided to not pursue a corporate job anymore. And instead, I am a full-time content creator and I'm making that work. But being a full-time content creator takes a lot out of you. It does. It's very time consuming. I've made another video talking about it, but when you say that you want to be a content creator, you're basically saying, I want like 7 jobs wrapped into one. And yes, it was taking a toll because being a full-time content creator, I also had 2 virtual assistant clients, and it became too much. I was burning myself out. I was working every single day. It was a lot. You see, I just got tired thinking about it. It was a lot. And I was just like, I cannot, even though I've been doing it for months at that point, I was like, I am burning myself out and this is not sustainable. And also, when it came to comparing it to content creation has the capability to have a much larger ROI than $300 a month. If you are just getting started with content creation, you may be making a few $100s a month, but as you keep growing, it really compounds. Like it really compounds. And before you know it, you can be making
Girl, shh, shh, girl. Okay, girl. Shh.
four figures a month every month, and from there you'll start making five figures a month every month. I could have spoken with the client and said like, hey, this rate that was decided in 2024, it's now 2026, I'm increasing my rates. I could have done that, but because of burnout, I was like, even if the rate was higher, I can't balance all of this. So I let it go. So this whole experience really taught me about making sure that you are evaluating your relationships with your clients and doing that regularly. And that is something that I talk about in my ebook. So I have an ebook that teaches people how to become a virtual assistant. It's
Are you always selling something? Always selling something. Okay, girl. Beginner to booked. By Life in Numbers. How to become a virtual assistant.
called Beginner to Booked, and it's like a 30-day timeline of everything that you need to know in order to get started. So it covers how to set your prices, whether it's hourly versus a retainer. Spoiler alert, you should do a retainer. But it covers things like that. It covers how to find clients, how to talk to clients, different like contracts that you can send or different responses to different scenarios when you're working with clients. So if you are interested in that, the link to the ebook will be in my description box. Now, these other red flags didn't necessarily happen with me, but these are some common things to look out for while being a virtual assistant. Does the
Okay. She has some very, very good points in here. Very good points. Um, this one is one that
compensated for it? Another concern is doing work outside of the agreed hours that you talked about with the client. So, this is something I talk about in the ebook, but making sure from the very beginning you have set hours. Like, hey, I'm not going to work on weekends and I'm not going to work after 5 p.m. during the week. Like, that's just an example. But whatever you come up with, communicate that to the client and make sure that y'all are in agreement on what the working hours are. And maybe y'all stick to that at the beginning, but it's funny. Business relationships and personal relationships are actually like really similar in how you conduct them, because I think throughout life in general, like any relationship, you teach people how to treat you. And if you let something slide one time, it will become a habit. Okay, so that one-off request, that one email that's sent out at 7:30 p.m. on a Saturday that says urgent. And so you look at it and you read it and you're like, well, it won't take me long to respond, so I'll just respond. That happened once. A couple weeks later, something else happens like that. You get a text message at 11:38 p.m. on a Tuesday night. And before you know it, it becomes a thing where they are constantly contacting you.
Are you talking about a job? Are we still talking about a job? Simone, Miss Simone.
Outside of y'all's agreed working hours. So if that becomes the case, that is someone who is not respecting your boundaries, and they're also not living up to the agreement that the two of you have between each other. And also, that should not just be a verbal agreement. Get that in writing. Like, y'all need, that should be a written agreement. These are the working hours. Ultimately, that is up to you if you start responding to those text messages, emails, or phone calls. That's, no one can make you pick up the phone. But if you do start doing that and you technically don't mind, like maybe you don't have much else going on and you don't care if you work on weekends or nights, like if you don't care, then maybe you should renegotiate your agreement and say, hey, if you want more availability, that's going to increase the rate. But if you are not okay with it and you do want your weekends free and you do want your nights free, you need to stick to that and politely but professionally tell someone, hey, this isn't what we agreed to. And if that pattern continues, then perhaps it's time to walk away. Okay, so this next one is big.
This is Navon Edge, the personal assistant for frequent business travelers. Navon Edge learns what you love down to the smallest details and finds your perfect flight, stay, or meal. How does it work?
Have you ever been in a car, like you're in the passenger seat, someone else is driving, but you're trying to give them directions and maybe you are looking at your phone. Let's assume that your car doesn't have Apple CarPlay because mine doesn't. Anyway, but let's assume that you are the GPS in this scenario and you are, reading the directions to them from your phone. Have you ever had a driver who did not trust you, who was like, nah, that can't be right. Like, let me see the phone. Like that type of thing. Like you are telling them, you are reading the directions like verbatim, and this person is not following your directions. And at that point, it can be like, well, what do you even need me for? Like, you can just do it yourself. And so sometimes you can have that type of situation with working with a client. They don't trust your expertise. So despite hiring you, they don't trust that you actually know what you're talking about and they don't follow your suggestions. That can be a very frustrating experience, and that may be a situation where you no longer want to deal with that client. In that case, you want to be with someone who treats you like an actual partner, like a strategic partner in their business, someone who they can just hand things over and you do it and you run with it. And if they don't treat you like that, then perhaps it's time for you to end your working agreement with them. Okay, so now that we've talked about those red flags, what happens if, yes, you have decided now is the right time to walk away from this client? How do you have that conversation?
Well, I'm going to stop it right there because I've already seen this. But I want you, if you're intrigued like I was, go stop by her channel, Life in Numbers, and finish watching this. I don't want my video to be too long, so I'm going to go over to, but she does have some good points in here. She still has some good pointers. So stop by her channel and finish it up there. Um, on to the other updates. So, if I can get to it, is it on here? There we go. I was gonna find the other one on here too. Okay, so I guess I won't show it. Yes, I will. Miss Symone is a homeowner, and so she said she was doing content creation full time. And you know what they say, content, everything is content. So she is mowing the lawn, and she's just going through and telling you about the new equipment that she's excited to use in the lawn, on the lawn. All of the things that she will be using. And let's see
all
here.
black because almost all of my clothes are black. But yeah. So I'm gonna move this pot, or not pot,
Miss Symone is outside. She's about to
the
get this
we're gonna
yard done.
plant that tree tomorrow, so I'm not gonna move it, but I am gonna move that bag of soil, and then all right, I'm just dragging it.
Everything is content when you're a full-time creator. Symone. Mhm. I mean, I have to say I'm just a little tickled because I'm so used to seeing Miss Simone just in her kitchen talking to us. Like I've never, she had never showed her whole body before. So, so I'm not gonna even do it like that. So to see her, um, full body and mowing the lawn is just different. It tickles me a little bit. Um, Let me go ahead and because everything is content. Everything is content when you're a full-time creator. So, do not want my videos because I didn't see it before. Um, I'm just gonna go and see what. Oh no. Yeah. She's exercising. If you go to her channel, you will see it. She's on her gym routine. And that's all, you guys. I'm gonna get off of here because I can never get 3 episodes done without my device saying that's enough. So this concludes this episode. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is IBTCH Reacts, IBTCH. And I will see you on the next one. I hate that I had to just shut this